a sandwich for someone in here. Somebody took it from me on the way over. Sorry. What's that? Yes. There you go. Whoops. Whoops. There we go. Sure. It was great to send our seniors out with a win. Their last game in Rice Eccles. It was, they went undefeated at home this year, 6-0. So that was a kind of a punctuation mark on a great home season for our guys. Didn't play our absolute best on Saturday or Friday, but we had decent production, 444 yards of offense and 28 points, which is a little below what we've been doing. But defense was smothering. That was really the key to the game was the way our defense controlled pretty much everything. Couldn't run on them, couldn't throw on them, couldn't score on them. 2 field goals is all they gave up. So a lot of positives there, and good way to end the regular season. Even though the game had really no bearing on what lies ahead, it's you want to compete and play well every single week. So we got the win. Now we move on to the championship game. Kind of a little different, playing the same team twice in 13-day period, but that's how it goes. No problem. I mean, it's just the way things laid out, and so we got to get ourselves ready again for a very good Oregon Duck team, and we've got to have excellent preparation, which is the key always, every week, to having a chance to win. And we'll be on the field today for a Tuesday type practice. We're a day ahead with the Friday contest, and so we'll get on the field and get back at it today. So questions?
When you are in that situation, facing the same opponent twice in a 13-day period, how much adjustment goes into the game plan, if any? I mean, what do you learn in the?
Yeah, that's a good point. No major overhauls, I would say, is probably the overall bottom line. But you do tweak some things and make some subtle adjustments here and there, and not a lot has changed with either team in 8 days, and so that's what we played over 9 days ago, whenever it was. But we just really it's the execution, the energy, that type of stuff is more critical than any minor schematic adjustments that you make.
Kyle, it's a different year and different teams and personnel, but is there anything that you can draw from 2018 or 2019 that you can take into Friday night?
Not really. We only have a handful of guys that were in those games, and so nothing other than we certainly need to play better than we did in those 2 years. And in 19 or 18 rather, we played really good defense. We didn't give up a touchdown. It was a pick six and a field goal. That did us. I think it was 10-3 was the score in that game, and then we didn't play particularly well on either side of the ball in 19 and got beat pretty soundly.
In 2018, you did play the same opponent in Washington. You got twice, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to kind of use some of that as kind of a blueprint of kind of how to prepare for a team twice in the same season?
I don't think so. Every year it's different makeup, different team, different dynamic, and so I would say that there really is no carryover from that. But we've just got to. One thing's for certain is we made a bunch of plays in that game against Oregon a couple weeks ago that don't mean squat right now. Nobody, they don't care, and they're not going to have any impact on this game. So we got to go out and make plays, and that's what it always comes down to, is making plays, and not one play we made in the last 2 weeks will count in this game. So we got to go out and make some new ones.
Kyle, after last season, when Devin and Nick and Brant make their decisions on whether or not to come back, did you get a sense from them that part of that decision-making process was to get back to this point, to right now, to get?
Yeah, absolutely. That factored in, and with pretty much all those juniors that decided to come back, and or some of them were sophomores because of the COVID year, but yeah, that was a one of the elements that helped make their decision, and I'd say it was fairly significant, for most of them.
In the game a few weeks ago, you jumped out to that big early lead and kind of took
Uh-huh.
grind it out. How important is it to jump on them early?
Well, if they get their usual rush yardage, which they did 2 days ago against Oregon State, they're tough to beat. And so that was one of the keys for us is to limit the run game. But it's always good to start fast. Although if you don't, you can't let it be a major factor. You just got to fight through the adversity and keep playing. But that's always a positive if you can get an early lead and play with playing with the lead's a lot easier than playing from behind.
Coach, Cubby previously talked about being prepared for a pissed-off Oregon team. How do you prepare your team for an Oregon squad that is likely going to have an emotional factor that wasn't present in the last one?
Well, we just got to take care of ourselves. We can't control their mentality, what they're going to come in with. But if we have that same mentality that we had the first time around, and that same look in their eye, and that same determination, and that same attitude of not to be denied, then we got a good chance. And so that's our focus, is how we approach the game. And I'm sure they're going to be in a pretty good mindset as well. I mean, it's a big game.
How's your personnel looking going into the championship game? I know you won't necessarily talk about it.
Yeah, we don't do that, and I guess other schools must, because you watch TV and all they do is cry and whine about who they're missing. Everyone's missing guys. I mean, maybe you're supposed to say all that in the production meeting so you can get sympathy or something. But nobody in the country is playing at full strength right now, and we won't be either. But you play with the guys you got, and it's next man up mentality.
Kyle, just to follow up on what Porter said, what did you think of the way that Michael Mokafisi played on Friday?
Outstanding. He, for a true freshman, and that is in every sense of the word, his first year in the program, true freshman. He played outstanding. Wasn't perfect, made a few errors, but he's physical, he's smart, and it was great to see him play at the level he did, because he made some, he did some really good things.
Well, it's obviously a championship game, but what makes this game so difficult to either prepare for or play in?
Well, first of all, you're playing the best of the best, the best team from the North, and the South. What are we, 1-10 or 1-9 over the last, however, since we joined the league? I think only SC has won this game for the South. Every other win is for the North. But you just got to prepare, just like you do all season long. There's nothing special we do this week, although the intensity and the emotion and and all that is much higher. But as far as the mechanics and how we go through our preparation and our systematic approach, that doesn't change.
What did you see out of Oregon in their game against the Beavers last week that was maybe different from what you guys saw?
Well, they ran the football effectively. They got a bunch of yards rushing. The quarterback was outstanding. 23 of 28, or right in that range, for 200-plus yards, no interceptions. They didn't turn the ball over. And so they were over 500 yards of offense. They were hitting on all cylinders offensively in that game, and really controlled it throughout. I know Oregon State made a push late and closed the gap, but it was really Oregon pretty much from start to finish.
Kyle, there's no question the atmosphere played a role in the win a couple weeks ago. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be not really a home game, not an away game, a neutral site. Expecting an advantage in that.
Well, we hope so. It's a lot closer to Vegas is a lot closer to Salt Lake than Eugene, Oregon, so we hope we outnumber them. And I know there's, the ticket sales, from what I understand, are going really well. And so if we could have a slight home field advantage, that would be a big positive.
What can you do to tighten up the kick-off coverage team? Because that was a problem.
Yeah, it was, and we had tightened it up, and we had the problems early. That was obvious, and then we got better and better each week, and we were actually really good on Saturday, except for the one that got out the gate. We had him. We had 3 guys miss tackle, and otherwise he's pinned inside the 20-yard line. But since we didn't make the tackles, and one of the tackles knocked him outside into a big gap, where there was no coverage, and so we have worked long and hard on it, and that kick was covered very well. We just didn't make the tackle, and so that's something that was unfortunate. But we've spent a bunch of time on that all season long, and we'll continue to do that this week. But it showed up again, and even though it was played correctly, the net result was not good. So we've got to continue to work on it.
Kyle, he hasn't said one way or another, but Britton Covey, can you just describe what he's meant to this program over the last almost decade now?
Yeah, almost a decade. Invaluable. What he's brought to the program is invaluable, both on and off the field. Great leader. Has everybody's respect in the building, coaches, players, everybody. His personality is infectious. I mean, his positive outlook and his just the way he comes in the building every single day is uplifting, and the players feed off that. And at practice, nobody works harder. In games, he's electric. He's exciting to watch. So he's meant so much to us, and we're going to hate to see him go. I guess there's a glimmer of a chance he may come back, but not much. So
Does he have enough left in the tank to come back?
I believe he does. I believe he does. Yeah, this is, I think, his best year, and knock on wood, he's been able to stay healthy all season long and really put up some good numbers, particularly in the punt return game. I don't know. We judge punt return by total number of yards amassed, and he's almost doubled the next team in the Pac-12, and I would imagine he's top 3 in the nation. I haven't looked at that this week, but he's
Do you
been.
think going maybe into coaching down the line?
He's talked about that. Yeah, he's talked about getting into coaching, and if he decides to go that route, he'll be outstanding. And we would take him back in a second as a graduate assistant and get him into that role if that's what he chooses to do.
Coach, you talked about the home record this season. Just curious with the new south end zone and all of that, did you see and feel the difference with that new end zone?
Without a doubt, it finished off the stadium. It was the finishing, well, not the finishing touch, but structurally with the seating, it just made it have that big time feel. Because before we had those big open ends, and it was, not quite what you want. But right now it's awesome. All we need to do now is add a big board on the other end, the north end, and that'll complete the stadium, which I know is in the works, but we'll see when that happens.
Kyle, what's your reaction to Lincoln Riley being a really big name and getting hired as a
No reaction really. I mean, he is a big name, obviously, and done very well in Oklahoma, and great offensive coach. But we're so absorbed in what we're doing right now that we'll concern ourselves with that later on. But it certainly was a splash hire by USC, no doubt.
Kyle, were you at all surprised or disappointed that Peter Costelli opted to transfer?
Disappointed. Peter's a great kid and had not been in the program very long, and would love to have had him stay and show what he could do. But he decided that moving on was in his best interest, and I guess there's a lot of people in the country. Our guys told me like 1,000 guys hit the portal today or something like that. I mean, the portal's just exploding. There's over 7,000 names in there, and so Peter being one of those. But we certainly thank him for his time here. He was a hard worker, completely dedicated to the program. Just felt that it was in his best interest to move on, so we wish him well.
Does that speak to the strength of what your QB room is right now?
Could be, yeah. I think that's part of it, and with what we hope to secure recruiting in this class, I think that all factored in.
Kyle,
What is it about the Sewell family? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, with as much time and energy as you spend recruiting, to have so many kids hit the portal.
Yeah. Well, we've only had one so far, I think. Is that right,
But
Jordy?
as an industry, more than
Right.
specific, but as an industry, does it make anybody rethink how much time they spend in that? Or you're preparing for the portal eventually and you have no choice?
I think the latter. You still bust your butt and do everything you can in recruiting to get the players that you've targeted to get into your program, and you often spend hundreds of hours on particular kids, and when they get here, sometimes they have a quick exit and there's nothing you can do about it. And conversely, there's kids that you can spend hardly any time that almost fall into your lap and end up being great players. And so there's no guarantee, time spent on a player translating to, how good he's going to be or any of that stuff. It's not an exact science, but you're right. You do oftentimes spend just tons of man hours and time and for a short-lived career. So that's just how it goes, I guess.
What do you feel about the Sewell family that they're able to produce so many elite football players?
What do I feel about them?
What is it about the Sewell family that they're
Genetics, really good genetics. Yeah, they got outstanding sons, and all of them are tremendous players, and they're just genetically engineered for great football players, and so they're all good. All the Sewells are very good.
Coach, you've been one of the top offenses this season. What's been, in your opinion, the biggest factor to that success?
Well, I don't know if you can say one thing, but I can tell you a few things. Number one, Cam Rising and the emergence of his play and how he's operated the offense. He's in the still, I think he's number 11, just slipped outside the top 10 in QBR in the nation, which means he's doing a great job running the offense. The offensive line has really come together, and we had some huge holes on Friday in the Colorado game due to the offensive line just being efficient and playing well. The tight end group, we have, I think, the best tight end crew in the country as a group. You know, those three guys are just tremendous and have provided so many big catches. I mean, you saw Keithy and Dalton on those 2 touchdown passes, and they've been doing that all year long. Then Andy, I think Andy's play calling has been outstanding all year long, and we really figured out who we were about Game 4. That's when we kind of figured out what what makes us go, and we've just kind of taken off from there.
What do you think clicked in Game 4? Is there something specific?
I think all those things I just mentioned. Cam, who had just taken over because he didn't get inserted initially until the end of Game 3. Offensive line started playing much better, started utilizing the tight ends more, and just executed better overall. Tavion Thomas, the emergence of Tavion Thomas, I shouldn't leave him out because he's obviously been a huge factor for us.
Why did the O-line get so much better? What did they get better at?
Well, just cohesiveness. And first of all, we I don't want to say we waited too late to find the right 5 guys because there was injuries and it was like a revolving door for a while there. But once we settled in with 5 or 6 guys that were the guys that were going to do get the majority of the reps, they just started to feel more and more comfortable as the weeks ticked by, and Jim continued to develop those guys. Bam, the emergence of Bam Olaseni, who was not real comfortable early in the year, but now he's playing as good as any left tackle in the conference. And so I think 3 or 4 factors went into that.
I think we know the answer, but any reaction to that Pac-12 reporter that said that you're going to retire if you win the Pac-12?
No, I don't know who that was. I've heard a few things from people, and I'm having as good a time right now as I ever have, and so I'm not even contemplating that right now.
Is that something that's changed since week 4 also? How much fun you're having?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no fun to not win games and have, in my opinion, we were underachieving, and that really gets under your skin. But once we started to have things click and you could see we're trending in the right direction, that really makes it a lot more enjoyable to come to work every day. Thanks, guys.
Hello, my friend. How are you? No, we got. Elmer, I'm sorry, man. Hello. I go in every game. And I can give you that. I can give you that. I give